Hey guys, I'm here to talk to you about Mother 1, or also known as Earthbound Beginnings. This game really took me by surprise, mainly because it's an JRPG from 1991. So my first thought was, oh god, it's going to be absolutely archaic, nothing's gonna work, I want to gouge my eyes out. But it was on the Switch store and it's for free, so I thought, okay, well fine, let's do this thing, right? Let's let's jump into it. And I just tried it out and I was like, oh damn, this is really good. What's interesting about this game is just how much good pacing there is at the beginning. And it's at the beginning here where you have a very simple concept where basically, again, I've always thought, mother stands for mothership, but also the mother characters in this game. And as if the game is being seen through the eyes of a mother-like figure, because everyone has all these weird quirks and, little things and a little uniqueness to everyone and the way they do it. It's quirky. It's literally quirky, but not in a way that's demeaning or derivative, rather. And it has this great opening where basically there's this alien that comes to Earth, and it is basically taken in by these two people. And it's like 80 years later, our story begins. And it's really cool. And already off the bat, you kind of get the vibe for this entire series because you're fighting with your bedroom lamp, which is kind of giving you literally the tutorial level. And already you're just like, okay, I have to fight this inanimate object. It's a little bit, okay, alrighty, this is kind of weird. Another thing that I do love, it really got me. So the intro screen to Mother 1 is it has this very classical vibe and feel to it. And when they play that near the end of Mother 3, that really got me. It was just literally a song in a hallway up to the final boss, but it was like, oh man, I felt that. But yeah, Mother 1, it's honestly good. Earthbound's Beginnings, it's really good. Like the dialogue, the way the system works, it's honestly really well made, and it slaps. It goes. Despite it from being the 1990s and not really hearing much discussion about it, it's good. And it was a game I wasn't intending to play, and I did end up doing it. It's that kind of game. Another thing that I love about this game, that it has certain mechanics in it that are actually way more modern than modern games, and that drives me crazy. For example, there is an auto attack button, so if you know that you're going to defeat this enemy like super easily, and you don't even need to use any side powers, you can just press auto and you'll go on auto attack and you'll just kill it without having to mash through the A button through all of the dialogue. It's so good. It's so genius. Besides that, there's also a thing where they had it as a debug thing where they basically sped up the game speed so that you could run faster, that they kept it as a feature in the game. But not only do you run faster, but the enemies run faster, so you can go around and basically run around the map as a form of sprint, but really just the game speed and the game engine running twice or three times as fast. And it's very useful because you go really fast, and I hate games where you have to backtrack or whatever and it doesn't let you go fast. It's just so weird that I felt like someone went in the future and came from the future and designed this game, because it actually has so many quality of life improvements that are better than modern JRPGs that make me scratch my head. Like, how did they think of this? And how has no one else used this? It's an outrage, I tell you, an outrage that people did not borrow from Earthbound Beginnings. Another great thing is that if you sneak up on enemies behind them, you get this green screen, and it lets you attack enemies from behind, and they're super weak. And if you're high enough level, you'll run over the enemy and you'll get the EXP anyway. You'll just absorb them, which is just it's such a smart idea. So if you have to grind in an area, and also this is also still more advanced than things like Final Fantasy, where if you're running through an area No, I'm sorry. I think in Earthbound you can see the enemies, but in this game you can't see them. But when you get into a battle, you can basically auto resolve it. Again, this game is really, really smart, and it does not waste your time. And it is nothing. It's nothing what I thought it would be like. So I was overjoyed. And actually, this is what got me into the Mother series. Was this game? I know a lot of people say Earthbound was their first Mother game, and that makes sense because it was a more popular one. But having never experienced the franchise and starting out with this game, I was pleasantly surprised and saying, this is really good. Like, really, really good. To the point where there are certain, I think even because this game is a little bit shorter than its sequel, it's almost preferable in that way because you know exactly where you're going and what you have to do, and it's very clear cut. I would also say overall, the ending to this game is actually very emotional and honestly really, really well done. I know I'm a sucker for music being the kind of the solution to the problem. And so in this game, near the end of the game, once you've kind of finished the main areas, very similar to the Zelda formula, actually, you have to find 7 notes or 7 items. And in this case, it's 7 notes to a song. And it's there's this whole subplot, which again, to my shock, is not in any other Mother games. In fact, in Smash Brothers, I think Magic Hand, which is the magical dream world that you go to in this game, is not. Well, it's actually in Smash. I just realized that. Oh my gosh, they put a Mother 1 stage in Smash. I thought it was in all the other games, but now that I've played them and I look back, I'm like, oh my god, wow. But Magic Hand is this place of dreams, and you actually meet this princess there, and she's like, hey, go get me all the notes of the song because we need to remember the song. And basically the song that you recover ends up becoming a very important item in the final boss fight. And the final boss fights in all of the Mother games have been super, super memorable. And my favorite one, I think, is actually Mother 1. I mean, Earthbound, Mother 2, its final boss fight is horrifying. It is the most demonic, evil thing I have ever seen in any game, and I love it, I think, because it is so insanely, like, horrifying. If you want the full force of something truly evil, like the concept of evil, that's Earthbound. The final fight of Mother 3 is also very emotional for character reasons, and Mother 3 is a very emotional game. And again, but even in that game, what I didn't like about the Mother 3's boss fight is, even though it was very emotional, it didn't really need player input. So while in Earthbound 2 you had to know to not attack the boss and use pray, if you just stay alive in the Mother 3 boss fight, it'll just kind of happen as like an auto thing. So it kind of takes away the impact of it, I feel, kind of. And in Mother 1, again, you need to know the exact move that you're supposed to do that actually brings the boss down. And it's through the power of love and music and, all that corny stuff. But it really got me, okay? It really, really got me. Like, the ending to Mother 1, I was like, oh, wow. I did not expect this to happen. I did not expect it to be this strong felt. And out of all the games, I do think Mother 1's ending is my favorite, shockingly, because a lot of people don't talk about this game a lot, like I said. But they should. But the fact that you have an auto attack button is just, that's really good. That's just really fun. It's interesting too, though, how, like, it's so interesting how simple this game is and how it's able to affect you in such a way. It can be pretty annoying though when you keep stumbling into fights and whatever, but it's good. Another thing that was in this game, that like, there are just certain things in this game that people don't really talk about. There's like the entire village where people have been, all the adults were abducted and all the children are just left alone, and it's kind of like Jimmy Neutron, the movie. And but they're all not happy. They're all scared and saying, "Hold me, save me," whatever. And I again, it's the things you remember about this. I remember in that town, that is the area where you find this one baby who is called like the genius baby or something. And when you talk to him, he gives you the final psi power you need, which I think is PK Starstorm or no, Starstorm you get in the jungle. I think he gives you the teleportability. I'm not exactly sure, but it's just these random crazy things like this that you just run into. Like, okay, there's a place called Spokane, which is a parody of Spokane, Washington. And you know, like I'll have these things in the back of my mind. You realize everything here is like a very dumb pun. Another thing that happens is, you know, all the animals go wild at the zoo and you have to go there and find the thing that's driving them crazy. And it's kind of like no one's really paying attention. You're like the only person who seems to know what's going on. And really, it seems to be aliens are invading and causing disruptions, and the natural order of the world is gone up in chaos. And it's a little bit more explicit in Mother 1 that it's specifically aliens causing this, while in Earthbound, it's definitely aliens doing it, but it also has a spiritual side to it where it's also like spirits and like demons and stuff, and the demons are aliens, which is an old classical, well, not a classical, but an old you know, idea that a lot of these things can be explained via this or that, but here it's specifically almost just aliens, as I recall. And there's another section where you have to go to the graveyard and rescue the mayor's daughter from like a bunch of zombies. You meet, you know, your friends and, you know, different towns throughout the world. What's her name? I really don't remember what the official names for the Mother 1 characters are, because they're not super important, honestly. I mean, one of them falls in love with you, so I should remember what their name is. But in any case, one of them lives in Snowmen, I believe it's still called, or Snowden or something. And in a church, you meet the nerdy Jeff character in the city, and I think he's hiding in a garbage can, and I remember his dad is also a garbage can or something funny like that. And then you finally meet the tough guy who lives in like the sketchy apartment block. I also thought it was very charming that your sister would manage your inventory and your mom would cook you your favorite food, which I put as burger. I put burger in all the games, and it's so interesting that the game itself would even ask you what is your favorite food. I don't know. It's that kind of very close-hearted thing that is I don't know, it's very charming, and I understand why people like this series because of that, because it has the super silliness and the super seriousness that intertwine with each other, and I really like that. Of course, it's interesting that all of your money is based on how many battles you do, and it's your dad's allowance. I always thought that was kind of interesting and funny. Again, a lot of the basic mechanics in this game are found in the other Mother games. There's still robots and aliens and wild animals and hippies you can all, you know, beat up and fight and whatever. Yeah, visually though, I would obviously prefer Earthbound. I think Earthbound really got the look of the entire series correct, and this game kind of is it's a bit archaic, but honestly I kind of enjoy it. It has its own charm, I suppose, and it's sufficient. Another thing that was surprising is the what do you call them? The fighting men are only in this game. In Magicant, you can kind of recruit them, and they fight alongside you, and then they perish in battle, and then they have these little, you know, cemeteries and whatever, and that's reflected even in the Smash stage, where they'll choose someone to fight with. I'm not sure what else to say about this game, actually. I know there's some of the dungeons and factories and stuff. There's a lot of, very large areas, and, you're always anxious, oh, did I get all the treasures in this? Did I get all the gifts in this thing? Do I have to backtrack eventually? There's certain story events like, a UFO flying you somewhere, and then you have to, deal with this kind of thing. I also like in this game when it says if you defeat certain enemies or certain wildlife, it says it became quiet, as if you've murdered it mercilessly. But yeah, it's definitely an archaic game, but it has so many quality of life things like teleporting, fast, auto fighting. There's so many useful things that are in this game that make it bearable, and honestly, I was beating it before I even realized it. It really sucked me in, and the dialogue is still of the same quality of the other games. So honestly, I think a lot more people need to play it and have fun with it and just experience it and enjoy. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I can really talk about Mother 1. It's an honestly really good game, and people should play it. That's it. See you later, guys.